All right, investigating Mr. Beast by Coffeezilla. Let's get into it.
I investigated Mr. Beast, who was recently accused of making $23 million with insider trading and scams. I wanted to know the full story, so I reached out to everyone, from researchers to crypto projects, even to Mr. Beast himself. And let me say, the story is more complicated than you think. I want to be clear. What Mr. Beast did, what his team did, is shady. But what we care about is, did he cross that bright red line from shady to illegal scam? And contrary to what Twitter says, I don't think that's an easy answer. Instead, I think the answer will depend on you. If you love Mr. Beast, there will be an explanation at every turn and a scapegoat. But if you hate Mr. Beast, what I'm about to show you will seem unethical and like a clear abuse of fame for money.
That's the thing about the two sides against Mr. Beast. I even got a few comments. Like, there's no one side that's like willing to hear both, right? Everyone is either for Mr. Beast or completely against him. I think a lot of the times, right, even in his own comments, I think he likely deletes his comments, but a lot of the times on Twitter, it's complete hate against Mr. Beast. But you know, some people are just, you know, willing to justify whatever he's doing. But when I saw that he has past evidence of scamming his audience. I mean, I don't understand how we still have issues where there's multimillionaires that are still going to, you know, be on record for scamming their audience. And that's, you know, one thing that I don't know how anyone could justify.
So already this story is difficult, but I want to make you aware of two more things which matter. First, I have gone to Mr. Beast's team to try to fact check this story extensively, and they declined to fact check or comment on my many questions. Instead, they gave me a statement, which we will get to. Secondly, I have a bit of history with Mr. Beast. I interviewed and spoke positively about him in the past, but also his new co-founder is suing me, and his other...
Oh yeah, that's right. Logan Paul, KSI, they did the Lunchly collab, but Logan Paul has beef with Coffeezilla, so obviously that's going to have Mr. Beast on one side, right?
Co-founder threatened to sue me. So you can make of that what you will. As always, I just want to let you know where I'm coming from, and I've tried to get all sides of the story. We're going to start with the major allegations against Mr. Beast and build on those. They come from two sources. Firstly, an investigation by Soma XBT, which claims Mr. Beast made $10 million by backing low-cap crypto tokens, which are down 90%. And the second investigation comes from a group of 5 people who investigated Mr. Beast and found $23 million in profits from, quote, scams.
That was the one that I made a video on. We went down the entire document. I mean, it's like an 80-page essay that they showed, you know, bit by bit, paragraph by paragraph, each crypto that they were able to link Mr. Beast's wallets and all of his friends and the times. I mean, they did a lot. It's on, it literally says right there, you know, LOOCK.io. Like, they did a full deep dive. I mean, it's a dossier.
Shady deals and his network. Now, there are a lot of crypto projects they go over, and I want to be clear. Some of these allegations, I agree, are bad. Others, I think, are actually worse than have been reported, and still other allegations I simply disagree with them on. So we're going to start with what I don't agree with. According to the report, Polychain Monsters, or PMON, is a project which KSI promoted heavily. Mr. Beast did not. But Mr. Beast did get in the pre-sale and make a lot of money. And thus, the conclusion is made, it's highly likely Mr. Beast made an investment from that insider information.
Who makes these names? Polychain Monsters. I mean, obviously it's a play on Pokemon, but it's just, who makes these names?
Of KSI's promotional deal. But there's simply no evidence provided of this. I have the same thoughts about Jigstack, another coin which KSI promoted.
Again, who makes these names?
And the conclusion is, though Mr. Beast did not officially follow Jigstack, in his network, KSI was involved in promoting Jigstack. From this information, Mr. Beast invested and made a large return. Here, again, there isn't concrete proof. Now, I asked the team who wrote this piece, and the lead author, Casper Vanderlook, told me, quote, having known Mr. Beast having a very strong connection with KSI, it's basically highly probable he was vested as a result of KSI. No concrete evidence, just going off probabilities. But I'm going to say, I don't agree with that, and I'm going to toss those probabilities aside. I think they reach too far. Instead, I'm going to stick with what we can prove happened. Luckily, the biggest claims in this report, the biggest moneymakers, are much better supported by evidence. Starting with Super. This is the project Mr. Beast is alleged to have made the most amount of money on. Over $10 million based on a pre-sale of $100,000. As for evidence, we have leaked screenshots.
Yeah, Super was like the largest crypto in that essay. He was able to make $10 million, which is, when you're thinking about an up-and-coming large content creator able to monetize their audience to even get that much influx. I know it's not just him, it was a lot of other people, right? But just thinking, that's how much pull that the content creation space has.
Showing Mr. Beast telling Super's founder that he can do 100K. Then we have a wallet that both investigations trace to Mr. Beast, sending 100K to the presale wallet. And then we have the same wallets getting millions of these Super tokens in a period of unlocks, which were almost all sold aggressively. Now, why is this bad? Well, Mr. Beast is obviously hugely influential, and he publicly associated himself with the project twice. Once on March 3rd, 2021, he responded to a tweet with eyeball emojis, And then he interacted a second time on May 12th, 2021. This is much worse. The founder, Elio Trades, had tweeted, "There's a gym sitting there on the market at eye-watering prices set to explode during the DeFi Summer 2.0. Mr. Beast's response, Super? But what he doesn't say is that he'd already purchased a huge stake in Super at this point, and on the day that he's tweeting, he was selling tokens, allegedly. Not only that, he had been selling tokens and continued to sell tokens. In the 72 hours after the May 12th tweet, Mr. Beast sold about $200,000 worth of these tokens. And remember the context. He's responding to the founder of the coin discussing a gym at eye-watering prices that's going to explode during the summer. And Mr. Beast's response is the coin he's selling. So publicly, it's signaling, hey, Super is this
And this is how I don't understand how they're able to publicly justify that, like, I didn't know, I was just a side actor. Like, no, you got in at the ground level. This is, if this were a stock, this is insider trading, right? So, and that's why an issue with crypto, it's like a wild west where there's no like public financial regulation or regulatory body who's willing to come out and say anything, because that's insider trading at its finest, like a, textbook definition.
Undervalued coin, and privately, Mr. Beast allegedly sold. Now, I ran these wallets by Mr. Beast, as well as the accusation, but I didn't get a reply. Instead, I got a heavily lawyered statement from a spokesman, who I'm going to warn you is about to complicate things. Quote, "These investments were made and managed in consultation with industry experts to ensure full compliance with all appropriate rules and regulations. The wallet is not owned or managed by Jimmy, but rather a fund led by respected and sophisticated managers. The fund closely evaluated and scrutinized hundreds and hundreds of opportunities, which resulted in several investments. Some have been more successful, others less, and others still works in progress. The fund's investment strategies apply the same rigorous standards as many other experienced investors in the field." Now, I have a lot of questions, but the big thing is Jimmy denies doing any of the trading or managing the trading and blames it on a fund. So I asked some obvious follow-up questions. What is the name of this fund? Who are the industry experts? And what rules and regulations were followed that allowed you to tweet about a coin while your fund is selling? I didn't get a response. It's worth mentioning the spokesman is Matthew Hiltzik, a well-known crisis management consultant.
Yeah, I don't think you can publicly say that, like, no, we had an investment firm invest on Jimmy's behalf while at the same time he goes on podcasts talking about how he's investing, right? Because you can't have it both ways. You can't have it where you were publicly investing while at the same time putting all of the blame not on yourself, right? Like, where's the accountability at that point?
Thankfully, online, there still are a number of clues we can follow to try to find the right person for this fund. The reason most people link Mr. Beast to this wallet we've been tracking is mostly based on a tweet by Mr. Beast saying he bought a specific CryptoPunk, which belonged to an account which goes by Wu-Tang Clan. People assumed, understandably, that this was Mr. Beast's wallet. But what is lesser known is that another account has also tweeted about CryptoPunks and has the same ties back to Wu-Tang Clan. A guy named Jason Williams. He's followed by Mr. Beast on Twitter, and he's the author of a book on Bitcoin, so he's a crypto
Are we going to say that this is his fund manager?
guy. And I found Jason tweeting about another CryptoPunk saying, "I hope you enjoy your new home, sold for 100 ETH. That sale he's talking about links back to the same address Mr. Beast does, Wu-Tang Clan. On YouTube, there's even more clues. Jason can be seen surfing wearing a Wu-Tang Clan shirt, and his brand name, Going Parabolic, happens to be owned by the same Mr. Beast wallet, goingparabolic.eth. So there's very good evidence that Jason Williams was also involved in this same wallet, which means that it might be true that Mr. Beast wasn't the guy buying or selling, which would be good for Mr. Beast and bad for these investigations. But just when I thought Mr. Beast might have no say in what this wallet did, I saw this podcast with Logan Paul, where Jimmy discusses CryptoPunks once again, and things get complicated.
So me and Logan both bought punks. You guys will probably see on his Twitter that he bought a bunch of CryptoPunks at the same time, right?
Yep.
Gary pulled us that call.
Yep.
So
That was one of the breakdowns that I did in that live stream. Like, that's like, I don't know how you can get around it. That's insider trading in crypto, which is completely illegal, but it's unregulatory, right? Like, we need it's crazy, because if you want crypto to be completely independent, there's going to be bad actors like this. So at one point, you can't say that we can't have insight of regulations, we can't have insight of rules, boundaries. Someone that has 300 million followers, and I'm gonna guess across all platforms, you're gonna see that he has probably like 500 million. He's gonna have some pull, right? You'll have a Kim Kardashian who's willing to post whatever for $50,000, or whatever their going rate is for pushing a crypto. So at the same time, you can't say that no one's gonna be taking advantage of this, because that's only what's gonna happen if you have no regulation on it. So what you have Gary V, Logan Paul, and he talked about other billionaires and other, multimillionaires and content creators who were on this call. What are they going to do? They're going to say that they bought it, just like he did in this, saying like, yeah, I'm for VFriends. Well, of course you are, when you bought at a fraction of a penny back when they first started. So now you're offloading whatever you sold off to me.
Have you ever told that story?
No.
Gary V, it's like 11 p.m. just out of nowhere, just calls me and he's like, yo, I got like 30 people to call, hop in. I'm like, I don't care. He's like, it'll be the best decision of your life, just get in. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And so I just joined the call and I just see like Logan and I don't even know these other people. I don't want to put them on blast.
Every heavy hitter you can imagine who's worth $1 billion was on this one call, and Gary V is in the little corner, the little square. He's going, CryptoPunks, it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be the next Facebook. Where all of us were like, okay,
everyone's
Gary.
Judging. I'm texting Logan. I'm like, Gary lost his mind.
Bro, all of us were like, yo, Gary's nuts. Yo, Gary was right again.
I bought a bunch.
Wait.
Yeah, I bought quite a few.
How many?
I don't want to say it, but I bought multiple ones. Yeah.
Well, bro, are you in double digits, Punks?
Double, just shy.
Huh. Well, this clip is very interesting because Jimmy said he made the decision to get CryptoPunks based on a call with Gary V. But those punks are owned by the wallet we just said was controlled by Jason. So it appears sometimes Mr. Beast is telling Jason what to buy for this fund. Mr. Beast then later talks about selling these CryptoPunks and rolling the money into a new project. And once again, it sounds like he's in charge.
Well, I've already sold quite a few of them, so I don't.
What?
He's on.
So is it that he's, like playing shot caller for the other guy? Like he's telling him what to do. And so technically he'll be able to get off that, it wasn't my account. I just, man, because that gets even trickier at this point, right? Because now
the next thing.
I bought a bunch of, so then I rolled the money into VFriends because Gary, same thing, called me. He's like, VFriends. I was like, I don't know, but last time I made money, sure.
I'll be honest, these clips to me make it difficult to assume Mr. Beast had no idea what's going on. He talks about CryptoPunks and VFriends like personal investments. And on Twitter, he says that not only he bought CryptoPunks, he also tweets about loading up on VFriends. But again, I have to say, it is also abundantly clear Jason Williams was involved. He says, hey Gary, thanks for the VFriends gift code. It was a gift from Gary to Mr. Beast. I'm very thankful for it. He didn't have to send anything. So once again, Jason Williams appears to be involved and have something to do with the trading or management of Mr. Beast's crypto wallet.
Man, that gets tricky.
We know Mr. Beast made some of the decisions.
Mr. Beast is tracking
Of course,
it.
I asked Mr. Beast to explain himself if he had any say over the trading, but once again, there's no response. So now I want to turn back to Super. We know from leaked DMs that Mr. Beast and not Jason set up this pre-sale, and we know that Mr. Beast made the tweet. So now we have to guess. Here's what we know. We know Mr. Beast set up the pre-sale according to leaked screenshots. We know Mr. Beast made the tweet, but we don't know whether it was Jason doing the trading of Super, or if he was doing the trading, did Mr. Beast know about it? Did Jason know about the tweet? These are the questions that ultimately matter, and yes, I reached out to Jason Williams for a comment. He didn't reply. I did, however, get a hold of Elio Trades, who is the founder of Super, and he insisted that Mr. Beast's tweet was not a part of a deal for promotion. But you should know, he also mentions how upset he was with how pre-sale investors sold their tokens, saying most of them sold, including Mr. Beast. So those are the facts. Mr. Beast gets involved in a pre-sale, for some reason tweets at this project twice, one time on the day his fund is selling tokens, where he seems to imply that they're undervalued. In total, he's alleged to have made $11 million with this deal, according to the report. So yeah, that's really bad. Now we're going to turn to another allegation, which is about Earn, or Ethernity chain. There are some facts which are the same. There are others that are different. For example, instead of Mr. Beast setting up the deal directly, the team at Earn claims they never spoke to Mr. Beast. Quote, we were speaking to his fund manager. And when I asked about these wallets selling allegedly over $4 million in tokens, they say, quote, Mr. Beast's fund was an early investor in our presale. He had the same unlock schedule as everyone else. Were we happy with the way he sold? Definitely not. But legally, there was nothing we could have done. And then, just like with Super, they claim they didn't ask for a promotion of the project, but that Mr. Beast decided to comment once himself anyways on March 9th, 2021.
Now, is this because he has financial incentive to comment on the topic, right? Like if you are, let's just say I gave you some object that, you can do whatever you want with it, but we all know that you want a financial incentive to be tied to it. If you happen to use your platform to mass market that you have this product, hoping to increase the volume so you can, decrease your supply and sell out at a profit. Now, that's obviously what's happening, but this whole legal loophole shouldn't be allowed and is a reason why crypto, or at some point crypto, is going to be regulated, right? Like, as you're going to have large influencers, large content creators take advantage of their platforms the same way that we are already currently seeing other content creators and, insiders taking advantage of their platform, right? Whether it be Gary Vee, whether it be Logan Paul, whether it be, Kim Kardashian, Floyd Mayweather, DJ Khaled, like they're going to be promoting whatever makes them money. And they're going to have like a legal loophole of like, no, I didn't know. And that's not going to be a good enough excuse or a good enough reason to be able to sell off on your audience or your fans.
Mr. Beast responds to Ethernity Chain saying, this one will be hype. It's worth noting, once again, about 24 hours before saying this fund wallet purchased over $100,000 of earn tokens in addition to the presale. Now, what is different about Super is that Mr. Beast's name was put publicly on the Ethernity Chain website. On their investors and partners page, you might be asking, well, which is it? Is he an investor or a partner? And the answer is both. He got into the presale, and the Earn team also claims that he partnered with them for an NFT drop. Supposedly, it was a charity drop and a normal NFT drop. Now, the charity drop specifically did happen in association with one of Mr. Beast's projects, Team Seas, saying, quote, all proceeds will go towards cleaning up the seas around the world. This was early November 2021. Then the official Team Seas account posted on November 3rd, 2021, quote, what an awesome crypto collaboration in support of the team. Then the CEO of Ethernity Chain, Nick Rose, confirms in Telegram that the drop is supported by Mr. Beast, saying Earn and ETH tokens will be accepted for the charity auction, which was slated to last 2 months. Now, the reason I'm sharing all of this is because 1 month into this 2-month charity auction on November 30th, 2021, the Rocket Fund or Beast Fund or whatever you want to call it starts selling huge amounts of this Earn token. Allegedly, they sold over $2 million, while the charity itself was still going on. Now, I know that sounds horrible. It looks horrible.
That's crazy. When was Team Seas? That was like 2 or 3 years ago, wasn't it? So why? I mean, like legally, is like a nonprofit allowed to mix in with crypto? Like, how does that work?
It is horrible. Although I have to tell you, personally, I don't think this was a master plan to pump a coin with a charity auction. If it was the plan, it was a bad one because the NFT auction was ultimately a flop. But do I also think it doesn't matter because regardless of your intention, selling tokens within a month of your 2-month charity auction is wrong, stupid, and unethical? Yes, I think that as well. Because in case you forgot, Mr. Beast is the charity guy whose name is on the website. It isn't a fund. It isn't a crypto rocket fund. It's Mr. Beast's branding. I even asked the Earn team about this, saying, quote, why did y'all list Mr. Beast instead of Rocket Fund in your partners investors? Was that discussed? They say, quote, we listed him, Mr. Beast, as a partner, and quote, yes, they accepted that. So according to the Earn team, Mr. Beast knew or should have known that his name was on the line for this investment and partnership. And yet, this fund, his fund, whatever you want to call it, sold tokens 1 month after starting a 2-month NFT auction for charity. To be fair again, though, it's hard to oversell how bad this NFT auction did. I've found only one NFT that...
Yeah, like clearly if you were a business practicing individual and you wanted to make money, like realistically, if you look back on the whole NFT phase, the whole NFT meme, I truly hope that doesn't come back because that was just an overpriced JPEG. That was an overpriced PNG that anyone could have made money on. And if you were to purchase or get given money in the sale of an NFT, it would make sense for you to sell out. Like there's no reason for you to have an NFT project. Like just making money, right? We're talking about profit and revenue. Like if you were to be given like money based off of some NFT, yeah, you sell out. You turn it into cash because someone just bought you a JPEG or someone bought your JPEG for $50,000. Yes, you sell out. You cash out, and I think they're talking $2 million in a month. From JPEGs, yeah, take it, sell it.
Appears to have sold here, but the bids were made in the Earn token, which the fund was selling, and the actual sale of the NFT didn't happen until after the fund sold in November 30th. The transfer happened in December 23rd. So of course, I went to Mr. Beast directly to answer this and see if there was some more context they could provide. There was no response other than the statement we've already read from Mr. Beast that he did not control the trading. Although again, that isn't a really satisfying answer because we've established Mr. Beast would sometimes direct what to buy and sell to this fund, like CryptoPunks. Personally, like I said, I don't think this was a pre-planned scheme. But regardless of intentions, if you're the charity guy, you support a charity, it flops while your fund makes millions of dollars in profits because it's selling the same Earn token people could bid on the charity with, that just is awful. And you should feel awful about it. Look, now I want to move on from that to talking about our final token, XCAD. This is a token you may remember from our investigation into MrBeast's business partner, KSI. But unlike KSI, MrBeast was not promoting it a lot on Twitter. In fact, the only reason we know MrBeast was in the presale is that there were several articles about it bragging about that fact. Once again, MrBeast's name was used to promote this instead of the fund itself. And internally to investors, I have to say, this built up a lot of excitement, not just because MrBeast is a huge name, but because XCAD had what's called creator tokens. So the idea to some investors is that, well, if they're investing MrBeast and KSI, what if they were ever to launch creator tokens? That would be massive. And I bring this up because some people might ask, like, what do these affiliations, how do they impact people buying these projects? And the answer from what I've seen is they actually do impact it quite a lot because people are anticipating like further involvement. And also the idea is like they must not be investing unless they're long-term holders. You can see this in the Telegram chat. It became so common that in the XCAD community, one of the admins says, here we go again, another community member asking if there's any possibility of a MrBeast KSI token. And meanwhile, by the way, as that's happening, as the investors are...
Okay, so yeah, and that's going to be further proof that like how much play the creator economy has over like a financial purchase. Because if you were to be able to push a product like a crypto token that has no financial oversight to your audience, people are going to be financially speculate on that token, right? Like it completely makes sense where like if you have a platform, which MrBeast has a 300 million subscriber platform, people are going to try to, you know, make a gambling bet decision, you know, but like it's going to be a game of hot potato and you don't want to be the one caught in the pump and dump.
Are hoping for these creator tokens and that they're imminent. Behind the scenes, something entirely different had been happening. Like with Super and Earn, MrBeast's fund sold a lot of their XCAD early in 2021 rather than holding their tokens. And this was surprising to even the founder of XCAD himself, Oliver Bell, who said they told him they were going to do the opposite. He tells me, quote, hey, so MrBeast reached out to me during our pre-sale raise. A group was set up with his team, and we had a call with his team, and they said they liked the concept. There was no strings attached to the investment. They did, however, want a lot bigger ticket than what I offered them, which I'm glad I did not fulfill. We discussed not just flipping this token, as this can damage projects if people have decent-sized tickets. It was my understanding we were aligned on this. However, after listing to which XCAD performed well, there was heavy dumping from a wallet linked to MrBeast's team. I got in contact with them immediately and asked them why they were selling like this. Now, Oliver later claimed...
Now, going back to that, hold on. They told me that they were not selling, they were raising Ethereum. If you were to partner with a content creator that he says were no strings attached, of course, they're going to tell you whatever it takes for them to get that financial incentive. Because if that's the case, you gave me free money, right? Like, you had to write my name down as like, you know, like, yes, he's partnered with it. But that's free money. Right, like having that behind a content creator, which I mean, in the grand schemes of things, like I'm glad that didn't take place, but like that's just bad business practice on the behalf of the XCAD team. Like, there's no like links to it, there's no ties. Yeah, like no, we gave him free, we gave him $1 million, like no strings attached. Like obviously he's going to sell off on you. What do you think is going to happen, right? Because I mean, that's what the whole deal of a contract is. But if you have someone who's not legally bound by anything of having a financial tie to anything, they're going to make a profit where they can. And a lot of people, when it comes to crypto, are quite short-sighted, where unfortunately they are willing to overlook the long-term investment of a value investing, of a financial buildup for that, right? They're not going to care long-term anyways. I mean, most could, but when you're talking about at a large scale, where we already did a research dive on MrBeast's finances, where he's making around $700 million in 2024 alone, or estimated, right? You have someone that's expenses, and you're telling them that they just raised capital for free. That's 100% profit under that line. So now you take that and you run with it like most people would do. And unfortunately, you know, the XCAD team learned from that. But when it comes to something like this, you can't trust someone who doesn't have a financial backing or a financial incentive to even play ball if you're going to give them free money. Why, you know, you wouldn't do that with an average person.
Team. I got in contact with them immediately and asked them why they were selling like this. Now, Oliver later claims this discussion about flipping tokens and them being aligned about the fact they're not going to flip these tokens so quickly was with Jason. And apparently, Oliver was so upset about what happened, he DM'd Jimmy directly, quote, explaining his team will ruin his reputation. And look, sorry to be a broken record, but yes, I reached out to Jimmy about this too. And once again, there was no reply besides the statement we read earlier. It's worth mentioning that I asked Oliver for proof of this message about ruining relationships, and he said the message had been deleted on Telegram. So who you believe here is up to you. Oliver also says, quote,
like, one thing that you could never trust is like when someone has a openly privatized group chat, like a Telegram, like a Signal. When you want to get rid of something, you use a sketchy platform, right? When you want to get out of the bounds of like legal ties, you go to like a Telegram instead of having like an open group 24/7 monitored platform that anyone can, withdraw on. Because that's what something like even though a lot of people shouldn't use it, like even still like a WhatsApp, right? With WhatsApp, it's fairly going to be public and someone's going to be able to save the logs because that's what you can do. But on Telegram, you can't do something like that. And even if on Telegram, that's why so many grifters go to use that platform. There was a discussion on the recent like European lawsuit with Google and how Google's CEO went out on record saying, let's get rid of the chat history. Let's CC our lawyer to ensure that we no longer we can keep them in the loop. What else did he say? He said get rid of the chat history. Don't save emails. Don't like, and all of this happened off platform on like a Telegram style chat, right? Where essentially they can get rid of the record. So when you hear someone going to a Telegram chat, there's a reason why they're not keeping it open or public.
I don't think Jimmy has a bad heart or is a bad person. I think he has genuine interest in the crypto space, but I think the team that handles his crypto is completely clueless. And here, on this last point, I have to disagree with Oliver. I don't think that Jimmy's crypto team is clueless. I think they saw an opportunity to make millions of dollars.
Yeah, you gave him free money without a contract. That's profit, right? Like if I were to give that to a business, hey, here's this thing, you can sell it, do whatever you want with it. Most people, if I were to give you a gold bar today for free, what would you do? You would turn it around and cash it out. There'd be no reason. If this was like a, it's crypto, so it's like a new style of gold bar. We don't have a full justified understanding of it. This gold bar could turn into $0. This new gold, right? So like you're gonna cash it out. You're gonna make money. It makes sense. It's a genius move. They made money. They made millions
with Mr. Beast's valuable brand, and they took it, and they did make millions of dollars. And along the way, they did some things that were shady. Whether or not you think they were also illegal is probably going to be shaped by our unanswered questions and where you fill in those gaps. For example, do you think Mr. Beast knew about the selling that was going on May 12th for the super token? Why did he make that tweet? And then, do you think Mr. Beast knew about the charity auction and the selling that was happening on November 30th? And do you think
and that's where the whole separation of accountability is going to happen, because he could always claim that he didn't know and he wasn't responsible, or he wasn't the custodian of his crypto platform, right? He simply was a public figure. He could always claim that he wasn't the custodian of his Twitter page, right? Because a lot of influencers lease out essentially that process, that they let other people have access to their Twitter so they can post on their behalf. And that could have happened, right? So there's going to be a lot of mixing of accountability, which makes things even mixier, especially when he's not the one responsible for these wallets or these funds when it comes to the world of crypto. Because who's going to be responsible for selling if he allowed that to happen on someone else's behalf, which is the Anthony guy. So I mean, if he's not the one that's doing the physical trading, but he's simply just a public face saying that he's doing the trading, again, the Wild West of crypto, right? Versus stocks.
Oliver Bell DM'd Mr. Beast and told him his crypto team would ruin his reputation, and if so, was that ignored? I hate to leave so many unanswered questions here, but I warned you, this was a complicated story, and a big part of the problem is the guy at the center of this story cannot or will not give more than a heavily lawyered statement through a spokesman who's a crisis management consultant. And let me just say, it's also frustrating that this statement takes zero accountability.
I mean, let's be honest. That's a genius move on Mr. Beast's part. Like most people in his case, right? If a CEO of a Google, an Apple, an Amazon were to have any allegations like that, that's the same thing. They shut up and they send you a one statement sheet that fits everything, and they would lose accountability on most things, right? They would say it's not us, right? So I mean, that's sort of textbook legal dodging, but it is what it is.
Despite the fact Mr. Beast's team knew every major allegation that we're laying out here today, there is no mention of selling while Mr. Beast was tweeting about Super Token. There's no mention of them selling tokens a month after they partnered with a 2-month charity auction. And because of that, this statement feels very hollow. I think to Mr. Beast and probably to his fund, maybe this is just business, you know? They set out to make a lot of money, and they made a lot of money. What's the problem, right? This is America. They might think this is the biggest Mr. Beast nothing burger since Mr. Beast Burger. But look, honestly, I'd agree with them if they had done this crypto stuff without using Mr. Beast's name. But they want to have their cake and eat it too. This fund trades on Mr. Beast's name, as we've seen. They get in pre-sales based on his name. He tweets from his public account, and they're putting his name publicly on projects' websites instead of a fund. But when things go south, suddenly, oh, Mr. Beast, what? No, no liability, just because he's not sitting there physically pressing the buttons. I don't think that's the way it works. Look, I want to close with the final part of this CryptoPunks podcast we showed you earlier.
That's true. Like, what if this fund is like an independently managed by, like, he's trusting this fund, right? Like, if you were to say that you were being invested in some stock, right? Like, you had a financial investment firm doing everything on your behalf, and they're telling you one thing, but on the back end, something completely different is happening. That's a change up right there. I don't know. That's where things get tricky. Because now, is that technically going to be like, what if Mr. Beast is being told he's purchasing these NFTs? What if he's told he's getting into these investments, but he has no direct oversight of the actual trading? And that's where things get tricky.
Because in many ways, I think it's a microcosm of this story. Obviously, I have to say, I'm not making any comments or judgments about the guy who's suing me, who's also in this clip. That's just coincidence. I am only talking about Mr. Beast's reaction, because as Mr. Beast is talking about Gary V's great CryptoPunks call, there's a moment when the co-host says, hey, maybe instead of Gary Vee being a genius, maybe it's just the call itself that makes the market. And Mr. Beast kind of defends it. He says, no, that was in February.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's insider trading, right? Like, just change the term of crypto and turn it into stocks. That's insider trading.
You know, CryptoPunks didn't pop until the summer. And, you know, I never talked about CryptoPunks until this very moment.
Can I ask you guys a question? When Gary does that call with all these billionaires and 8 months or a year later, everybody's like, Gary was right again. Yeah. Is it possible that he's right because of the call? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what? He's like, question, hey, are we the bad guys? If we did all of that, hey, are we the bad guys?
Saying like, think about that like, dude, he has all these billionaire market.
He said, I think about that a lot. Yeah, my lawyer tells me to not talk about that.
Makers in the thing. He makes the call, makes the market. By the way, you look around at all the punk owners a year later and you're like, damn, it's all the same motherfuckers that were on the call.
No, because bro, there's 10,000 punks and there's only like 30 of us on the call. We can only own and do so much. There's still an entire market that's gonna happen regardless.
I can tell you, I don't think why, because that was all back like early February. Like things didn't pop off till later, and every like NFT.
Yeah, because they got in so early. What's happening right now?
Project was popping up, not just punks.
I mean, make no mistake. Like having such influential people involved in projects, it can't hurt the.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you have nothing but large influencers who are responsible for going out and marketing towards their audiences. Like let's understand what Logan Paul, Mr. Beast. Let's understand what these people are. Right? They're master marketers. Right? Like they understand how to market. That's how they've gotten to build their personal brands so large. Right, you're talking about people who have like a collection of 1 billion followers. Like I'm guessing that we're on that call if you're including Mr. Beast and all of the platforms, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, like literally across the board, a combination of Logan Paul's followers, literally a combination of everyone. You're talking about hundreds of millions of followers to a billion of followers across the board. That's not going to hurt any project. That's only going to help it.
Ability for the project to
but like,
work. You know what I'm saying?
95% of those people didn't even mention it. You know what I mean? Like, I've never talked about it publicly.
Yeah, but that last part isn't quite true. The reason we're all here is Mr. Beast tweeted about CryptoPunks the same day he bought them back in February of 2021. That's how we found his wallet, even though we now know someone else was involved too. And I would apply the same level of scrutiny to many of the investments we've talked about. Was it the genius of Jason Williams, Mr. Beast, or this fund that made them tens of millions of dollars? Maybe. Or was it the fact that the name they brought to the table was Mr. Beast, one of the most influential and valuable brands in the world? And that's what got them the great deals. That's what got them a bunch of eyeballs. That's what made it so valuable to have his name on these websites. And maybe that's what made the market. Ultimately, I think it's for you to decide.
Man, that's it's one of those things where like you don't understand how large a content creator or the creator economy is until you understand when you start tying it to finances, right? Shout out to Coffeezilla for finally talking about the topic. I know that this isn't going to be the last time he talks about it. Literally, the end of Coffeezilla's videos are always filled with his supporters, his Patreon supporters, like a wall of them. I think this literally goes on for like 2 minutes. But if you like having these kind of conversations, like